All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Blackstock. Here. Blair.
Here.
Horn.
Here.
Patsalis.
Here.
Boda, excused. Town, here. Simons.
Here. Okay. Kathy, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we have the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? If not, a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion that we accept the agenda as presented.
I'll support.
And it's been moved and supported that we accept the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the approval of the minutes of April 2, 2018.
If there are no additions or deletions, I will make a motion to approve the minutes of April 2nd, 2018.
Support.
We have a motion and support to approve the minutes of April 2, 2018. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to talk about anything that's not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have the C1, which is the March 2018 Marine City Fire Report. We have the C2, which is the March 14, 2018 Park Commission Minutes. C3 is the January, February, and March 2018 Investment Income Report. C4 is the March 2018 St. Clair Fire Report. And C5 is the March 2018 Revenue and Expenditure Report.
If there are no questions, I make a motion to approve our consent agenda as presented.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to disbursements, we have invoices for $103,197.44. We have accounts payable of $48,392.21. We have the payroll of $27,250.37. We have an EFT payment of $9,298.80 for a total disbursement of $188,138.82.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills in the amount of $188,138.82.
I'll support.
Okay, we have a motion and a support that we pay the bills in the sum of $188,138.82. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Patsalis.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Blair.
Yes.
Blackstock.
Yes.
Town, yes. Simons.
Yes, motion carries. We pay the bills. All right, moving on to new business. We have new business 1 is River District Hospital discussion with Dr. Bachelor. If you'd like to go to the podium.
Well, thank you Supervisor Simons and Township members or trustees. I'm Lee Bachelor. I'm the Chief Medical Officer for St. John River District Hospital, just down the road a piece. I had been asked to speak at the China Township meeting and asked Mr. Simons if it was beneficial that I come here as well, largely to dispel rumors. There's a lot of misunderstanding out in the community. There's a lot of folks that are still saying the hospital's going to close. We're going through a restructuring. We've, over the past couple months, have looked at our business and really looked at our business over the past year. And our book of business has not really been all that great as far as admissions go. And as we look across the landscape nationally, patients aren't really getting admitted to the hospital much anymore, whether it's because physicians like myself are taking better care of patients or patients are taking care of themselves and listening to us. I don't really know, but we're really not seeing patients go to the hospital. And we're doing more work on an outpatient basis than we are an inpatient basis. So we're kind of right-sizing our hospital to what our book of business has been over the past year. We've kind of migrated everything into one area of the hospital. Excuse me, the newer part of the hospital, which is where the OB unit used to be, the maternal child area. Pardon
There's
me.
water right there underneath.
I'm good.
Bottle of water.
The maternal child area used to be, and we're taking and kind of combining the whole hospital into that area. We're separating it right down the middle, so one half is going to be maternal child, and the other half is going to be our acute care hospital. That'll give us some economies of scale with nursing and some of the resources that we use to take care of patients. Our ICU really wasn't all that used. We really didn't have many ICU patients. There were a number of days, weeks that we really didn't have an ICU patient. Our ICU was more of a step-down type unit, not really an intensive care unit like you would think at the major tertiary care hospitals. So we closed that and partnered with our main hospital to provide the ICU care. When patients get admitted to the hospital, they're ill, and when they really need to be in the ICU, they're really ill, and they need to be in an ICU where there's physicians and staff, more qualified staff and physicians, and as well as mid-levels there 24/7, which we don't have in a small community hospital. So Ascension Health, or St. John Providence, which is now part of Ascension Health, or has been part of Ascension Health, is focusing on a more of an outpatient basis and a wellness type basis for our county. We still have the hospital, we still have the ER, we still have surgery, we still have radiology, we're still delivering babies, we're still doing, all the things that a small community hospital does. We're just not as big as we used to be. So Ascension is committed to the community. They're putting money in to redesign the hospital right now. We're also looking at purchasing property in the southern part of the county, around by 26 Mile and 94, and going to build a rather large outpatient facility there, which will have primary care physicians, specialty physicians, as well as hopefully in the future some outpatient surgery areas too. So it'll look somewhat like the building that's at 23 and Romeo Plank, but on a smaller scale. So I'm here to just answer any questions, make sure we all know that we're still here, we're still open for business, and we're not closing.
Is it mostly shut down a lot of the beds? That's what I'm hearing,
Yeah,
that
we're cutting back in the beds. We're a 68-bed facility, and over the past year, our average census has been 11.4. So there's days we've had 5 people in the hospital, there's days we've had 19 people in the hospital. So we've actually taken the medical surgical area and cut it down to 12 beds, which is what we're really seeing. Our throughput is a little better. We're making sure that we get people in, get people out, putting them in the right place, in the right care at the right time. So we had like 300 and some employees for, a book of business that had, sometimes 5 patients in there. So it was really, really overstaffed. Mr. Blackstock?
Might have answered my question. Do you see a change in staffing then?
Yeah, we have had a big change in staffing. We've had some voluntary retirements. We've had some layoffs in the hospital. We've been quite generous with, a severance package for those folks. So hopefully they'll do well and find other jobs. And it's not happening just in our facility. It's happening, the Lake Huron Medical Center to the north, their census has been down to 20% at sometimes too. So everybody's seeing that there's not a lot of patients being admitted to the hospital.
If by chance you see a rising again in the hospital, would you restaff that hospital, or would you be moving to 26 Mile Road 994?
No, we would restaff that hospital. If things change in the community, if one of the players in the community leaves and we need to step up our game, we still can do that.
Okay.
Now, is that other contract, what do they call it, the industrial, just inside the door?
Industrial health, occupational health, that's still
Yeah,
there.
that's
Yep,
still going to
yeah.
be there?
Everything's still there. We don't have an ICU, and we've just kind of downsized or right-sized our facility.
Okay.
So, and if you look at the national literature, there really is a move to outpatient care. They're now doing joint replacements, hips and knees as outpatients. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get your surgery and go home that day. Usually it's you spend the night and go home the next day, but they call it outpatient surgery. Gallbladders are being done on an outpatient basis. You come in the morning, get your gallbladder taken out. A lot of times people are leaving that night. So there really isn't a lot of people that are staying in the hospital on an ongoing basis. And the insurers, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Priority Health, all those are pushing to not have people admitted to the hospital. And we are sometimes being penalized by having people readmitted to the hospital. And now there's a lot of work being undertaken to penalize you for admissions to the hospital for patients with like heart failure and those chronic diseases. They really want them more treated on an outpatient basis.
And unfortunately, that's what our society is coming to because of all those reasons that you just listed, that
Yeah.
we have to downsize. But the hospital is a great asset to our community, and, I mean, the location for us is ideal. If not, it's either Port Huron or Mount Clement.
Yeah.
So hopefully, we can sustain at least what we have now, if not get it better.
It's a great little community hospital. We want to keep it,
Yes.
and I'm working hard to make sure that we do.
Good. Kathy,
Any other
anybody else
questions?
have questions? Right.
Thank you for the opportunity to address you.
Thank you for coming in and spending your time.
Okay.
We'll pass the word that you're not closing. We'll
Good,
be
thank you.
okay.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
coming in.
All right, next, we're moving on to new business, item 2. The DPW has requested a portable sewage meter. It's $8,500, that's installed. Talked to Blaine about it today, again. This would be used in the lift stations to monitor, what's going from one station to the other. We can move it from station to station. It's actually a tool. We won't be billing anybody by it. It'll just be so we can tell what flows are going through what lift stations to try to find out where we have the largest infiltration of water.
Right.
As in Point Drive and now down on Urban Drive. They actually manned that since Wednesday, or Saturday at 11 o'clock. They've had to man that lift station on Urban Drive because it's so bad. But that's the one we're rebuilding, hopefully next month, so. I put it in your packet, it's in there, the description of it. It was a little over my pay grade to authorize that. Like Blaine said, we don't need it immediately. If we think we want to wait a little bit, that's fine too, but eventually he would like to have that.
I think this could be a great asset to us, because especially with teaming up with China, we can keep track of what's coming in and out of our township, just to make sure that things are right in China as well as in our
Right,
township.
and there's no, this'll be nothing to do with billing or anything like that. It'll just be a meter for our own information, and we can move it from location to location to tell if we're having a big infiltration. Yeah,
I just have a question. This breakdown that they have, now is that for one install at one lift station? for
Yes.
instance? Okay, so this, we'd have these fees if we moved it?
we'd probably have those fees of having our guys for a half a day, and then them to calibrate it. Once it's put in, it has to be calibrated,
Okay.
so.
So every time you move it, you recalibrate it.
Would that be the $800 to $850 cost? Is that?
I don't know if PC is gonna charge us that each time. I guess I didn't pursue that. That was what it is to put it in the first time.
Okay.
I would assume those are the costs that are gonna be the second time, but maybe not. I mean, and maybe Blaine will learn how to do it too, but I don't know if he can calibrate it.
That'll help us to check on the one lift station that don't overload another one too.
Right, they all gotta work together. They can't have one putting more. Now we're gonna start rebuilding them, so the new ones are probably gonna put out a lot more. But it's all timed by the gallons, isn't it, Chuck? The gallons that they pump, so we don't overload the next one.
How often is this moved? Is it installed and left there for like a year, 6
It
months?
could be, yeah, could be, well, until we need it at another one, or we probably leave it there,
But it's not something that you move around weekly, so,
No,
You're
no, it
paying
wouldn't be a
800
weekly, no.
bucks.
We have like 9 lift stations, so,
right,
and the new one that we're putting in on Urban Drive, we'll have one on it. That's part of the bid. That'll
Oh.
have one permanently installed on it.
okay.
On Urban Drive, and when we do the other ones, we'll probably install them on the other ones too, which this one could be installed permanent when we get down to the end. If they all got one, we'll just put this at the one that don't have one.
Okay, because I was concerned for the $800 calibration too.
Yeah. I think the pump was what, 6,000, or the meter was 6,000 something, wasn't it? I didn't my thing yet.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the DPW to purchase a portable sewage meter in the amount not to exceed $8,500.
Support.
I'll support.
Herb, gotcha. All right, it's been moved and supported that we allow the DPW to buy this portable sewage meter for $8,500. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Horn,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Blackstock,
Yes.
Pat Sallis,
Yes.
Town, yes, Simons,
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to new business 3. Jerry Basinger transferred to the sewer plant, operator grade 54. As you know, we lost one in the sewer plant 2 months ago? Roughly. About 2 months ago, and the board authorized us, we posted it as we have to for the union contract, 5 days. Jerry is in the DPW right now. He's elected to try the sewer plant job. And according to the contract, he can go there for 30 days. If he doesn't like it, he could come back. But assuming he will like it, he will stay. That's what I'm assuming. So when he goes there, he's a laborer right now in the DPW, and it's a step up to a pay grade 54, which I think is 25 something an hour. So he'll be getting a small raise. And that's why I brought it to the board, because of the raise. So what we would need is a motion to let him transfer and go to a pay grade 54.
But upon the transfer going to a grade 54, according to the union contract, that's what he has to get.
Right.
So I don't think we can dispute the
No,
union
we can't,
contract
no.
on that.
No.
I mean, it's a
But I
given,
just
it's in
wanted the
union
board to know
contract.
that he's getting, it's gonna be a raise and that
Right.
we're spending money going to the raise.
Right.
So that's why we put it on the agenda.
Now, does he need any training or any kind of a license or anything to come into that job? Or
No,
any-
he'd be coming in as a trainee, he doesn't have a sewage license.
Okay.
He has experience with pipes and,
Okay, so he's qualified to come in there right now the way he is, pretty
Well-
much, yeah.
And is it the understanding that he will work towards getting the basic license for the sewer plant? Is that part of the
well,
employment?
yeah, we will encourage that, but we leave that up to him. I mean, if he wants to stay
Right.
at that pay grade
Right.
for the rest of his career,
Yeah,
really force him to write licenses. but-
right. We pay him by the qualifications.
And as well as he has a 30 days to see if he likes the job, we have 30 days to see if he fits into that job, correct?
Correct, and I think we can extend it 30 days too.
Okay, so if there's any issues or questions, I mean, we have to address that within the first 30 days.
Yeah, it's mutual on both sides.
I'll make a motion as per our union contract that we allow Jerry Basinger to move over to the sewer plant at a grade 54 wage.
I'll support.
All right, it's been moved and supported that we allow Jerry Basinger to transfer over to the sewer plant, operator grade 54. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Blackstock,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Pat Sallis.
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Town, yes, Simons,
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to new business item 4, we have Mark and Dawn Krantz, is it? Did I say it right? And it's at 5715 River Road. It has to do with the restoration, I believe, we're talking about that we did on the sewers. So I'll let you guys have the floor.
First, we'd like to say good evening to the board members, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak to you tonight. My name is Dawn Krantz, my husband Mark. We're both residents of East China Township. As Larry just stated, we live on the River Road, and some sewer project work needed to be done on our property. We received a call, and we were told that they were going to access our property, and they did so on January 18th. The contractor, along with township personnel, accessed our property to work on the sewer. We understand, and there's no qualms about it, that the work was extensive and it was necessary. So we understand that. When the contractor and the work was done, our property was left with several issues. 9 sections of our sidewalk were badly damaged due to the heavy equipment used by the contractor and the township employees. No protection was ever put down on our sidewalk to try to protect it. The sides are cracked and broken. The cracks, we have cracks all along. It's heaved. It has huge gouges in it from equipment that was used to scrape the sludge and dirt away. And so we're a little upset that there was never any protection put down. It seemed that there was a lack of respect for our property. The sprinkler system was cut, badly damaged, and is now unusable. A large section of the lawn was left, needing to be leveled, filled, repaired, seeded. We understand that was necessary. Fill at the seawall was washed away, and we had just put pea gravel and dirt and built that all up and seeded that, so that all now needs to be replaced. And one final thing, the contractors used our electricity to run their equipment while they were on the job, and that was never discussed and permission was never granted. So, needless to say, when they left, we had some questions, we were concerned, we were frustrated. So we called and Blaine came to the house on January 19th, the very next day, to see the damage, and he assured us that all those issues would be taken care of. On January 22nd, I went to the Township Hall. I shared the photos with Larry, met Larry for the first time. I showed him what a mess had been left behind. Larry agreed. I went on my way. On January 23rd, Township employees were kind enough to come and wash all the sludge and dirt away from the sidewalk, patio, and the furniture. At the end of January, when we hadn't heard any more, we sent a letter to the Township noting the 6 issues that remained. And I think you have copies of those letters in your packet, as well as pictures of what I'm describing. At that time, we asked for the issues to be addressed. Did we know a timeline? What was the plan to correct the issues? We then received a call from Larry, the Township Supervisor, in February of 2018, expressing his surprise that the issues had not been resolved with the contractor. He thought the contractor had taken care of everything. He assured us, and he agreed, that the 6 outstanding issues with our property needed to be cared for. He would make things right. After that phone call, a plumber was sent to repair our toilet, and that was completed. After hearing nothing else, on February 28th, we sent another letter to the Township, reminding them that we had outstanding issues. We again asked for a timeline. What was the plan? How were we going to correct the issues? My husband had to call Larry to see if he received that letter, which indeed Larry had. Mark asked him those questions. What's the plan? How are we going to repair this? We noticed something. Larry had begun to back off that commitment to fix those original problems. He said he was seeking legal advice on whether the Township was responsible for fixing the damaged cement. He said he'd have to get board approval. He reminded us about how much the project had cost the Township. Other people had damage. We weren't the only ones. He wasn't sure if it was in the easement, if he was responsible. We reminded Larry what our expectations were. We want the property put back to the way it had been found, nothing more, nothing less. During the week of March 19th, after not hearing anything again, Mark called. Mark asked him, what's the plan? What's the timeline? How are the repairs going to be made? Larry wouldn't commit to repairs, said legal counsel told him he wasn't responsible to make the repairs. He indicated he would have to seek board approval to move forward. We invited Larry to the property to please come and look at it for himself, and he did. He came to the property to assess the damages. I was able to speak to Larry that day. I was home. I showed Larry the 9 sections of sidewalk. Larry again said he wasn't sure the Township was responsible. I again expressed to Larry that we expected our property to be put back and restored to the way it had been found. Nothing more, nothing less. So you may ask, why are you here? I showed you the correspondence, you see the pictures. We're here because we're frustrated. We're stunned that residents who pay their water bill, pay their tax bill, have to show up here and ask, what is your process? What is your plan? Who's going to repair the work? What work is going to get done? We still don't have a commitment. We're led to believe that you don't think you're responsible to fix the sidewalk. 43 feet of sidewalk has been damaged. Maybe that wouldn't have had to be that way if we would have had a contractor in who would have respected a homeowner's property. We're not getting the answers. We would like to know, what is the timeline? What will be repaired? Who will be doing the repairs? Do we get the repair estimates? Why has none of this been communicated to us? It's not acceptable the way the property was left. And I'm here to say that Mark and I are not going to stop until it's put back to the way it was. Nothing more, nothing less. But we would like answers, and I'm not sure if Mark has a few
Yeah,
things
I'd
to
just like to thank you all for taking our phone calls and giving us the time to be here. And Larry, you know, you're the one that brought up electricity and some of the other stuff, but we're just kind of looking for a little commitment. I mean, we really don't know where we stand. I don't know if I'm gonna be left to fix that myself. You've been very clear about the yard and the sprinklers, but outside of that, it's been
Right.
very gray.
And I think I did tell Dawn when I was there, I think your dad was there, I said, it looks like we went out of the easement a little bit there and scratched some of your concrete. So I think I told you that I was gonna tell the board that I think we should replace your sidewalk. You don't remember that part of the conversation?
No.
We heard that. I mean,
Okay.
Larry, when I just talked to you the last time, you told
Right.
me.
We don't have no plan, we don't know where
I
we're
know,
going.
but the comment you made to me was that sidewalk there in 1950?
Well-
Because if it wasn't, we're not responsible. I wasn't even born in 1950.
Right, yeah.
That's the kind of statement that tells me that.
Well, you had told me that you demanded that we fix that sidewalk, that you've already sought your attorney. I didn't mention any attorneys until you said you had an
You
attorney.
told me you were taking
And
legal
I-
advice,
and I
don't
said,
wanna haggle with you.
we
don't
were-
wanna do this halfway.
We're here to serve the public. You're our customers. I think I told you that. We're not gonna leave you hanging. We're gonna do what we have to do to make it
Left a lot
right.
of doubt in both of our minds each time we talked to you, and I've been the only one that's been communicated. It's come from me. And each time I talk to you, say, I'll get back with you and let you know. I
Well,
waited
there's
for
no
you.
change. We
There's
don't
no
know. We
change.
still have to go across there at least 4 more times.
I understand that, Larry, and
You
I'm
know?
not questioning the time frame. I'm looking for some kind of commitment to know whether it's going to be fixed or not.
Right.
I'm
And I
not
say,
asking when.
well, you can ask the board.
And that's why we're here.
Okay,
You know.
let the board, I'll do
So,
whatever the board wants to do.
we've never come to, we've lived in China Township, we've lived in the city, and we've
Right.
now lived in East China, and we don't come to township meetings, we don't enjoy it. Public speaking is not on the top of my list, so we would not be here if we felt that you had communicated to us that you were going to fix it,
And the other
Larry.
thing, I'd like to apologize on behalf of myself and the township for the contractor that we had there. Everything was done at your place was all wrong. I mean, they should have never been on your deck eating their lunch. I mean, I can't be there watching these contractors all the time. They should have never tapped into your electricity. I actually got a check cut for you. It was cut last week. You should be getting it this week for the $34 and something, or $35. That, you should be getting that probably in the next day or two. We took care of the toilet issue right away.
You did.
You know,
Appreciate it.
I know we had a little miscommunication on the toilet, but we lost a lift station that day, and the guys couldn't get there at that 1 o'clock to meet your son. And I apologize for that, too. And the other thing, the sprinkler system, you're most definitely right. They should have put protection on that sidewalk. But when we started all this sewer stuff, my first response was, why, what is the township's legal right here? You know, because you weren't the only ones that complained that we were in your front yard. And rightfully so, if you were in my front yard, I'd want to know. So I had to find out from our legal counsel. Sent one of the easements to our legal counsel to say what? And I told you what they said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that that's what this board is going to do, or that I'm going to vote to do that. But we've got to, we haven't got a plan. We don't even know what we got out there yet.
But
And
if it
there's
were-
nothing
if
we
it-
can do right now. Well, they started 2 days ago raking stones. But
But
what do you
if-
want us to
if-
do right now?
If it were your property, would you not be getting estimates and having a conversation with somebody about,
We are doing that. We are doing that.
Why would you not tell
We are trying
us
to get
that?
a square footage of how much damage is done. That's what Blaine and I walked at the other day. He's figuring up, I gotta have something, I just can't say to a contractor, go fix everything on Point Drive. We gotta have some kind of,
I agree.
we gotta have addresses that he can go to. We wrote down everything that was done on your property, was the sprinkler system, the sidewalk, the lawn, I guess that was it, and the electric and that other stuff we had already answered. But we gotta have some kind of parameters when we bid this out, because we are like equal opportunity. We don't wanna just call up some contractor and say, go do the whole thing. We'd like to get some different bids on it to do it. And as you just heard, we lost one of our people in our DPW, so we're down to one person now. So it's in my comments here to talk to the board that we're gonna have to contract some of this work out, because there's no way that we can do that degree of restoration. And it's not unused to get the prices and get the stuff done. It'll be done, but we can't even buy topsoil. We tried to buy topsoil. It's 2 weeks out before you can even get any topsoil.
And we're not questioning the timeline, Larry, we're just looking.
So
for
what is it?
Commitment.
Basically the
I
sidewalk?
want to hear from you that you're going to fix our sidewalk.
Okay. I'm gonna put it out to the board. What do you wanna do?
Larry, you said you had to use that again because you have more down there.
Right.
So why fix it now? You gotta wait till you're all done. How many more you got down there?
Well, there's at least 3 or 4 more digs that we have to do, but I think you guys understand that by yourself. You just wanna know, when we're all done
When it's
and,
all said and done, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want it fixed today and have it ruined again. That's
no,
not
no.
the case.
But what happens in 2 years if we have more problems down there? That's our easement, that's our access to get down
I
there.
get it, but the
But
easement's
that-
20 feet wide and the damage is 50 feet wide, so.
Correct, and that's why I said, I think we're gonna have to replace your sidewalk, so.
But you're,
We haven't, have I denied that, saying that
But-
we'd never fix the sidewalk? Did you hear that from me?
you said, you led me to believe that your
Well,
legal
I'm sorry I
counsel.
misled you, but I never said, no, we're not fixing your
No, I
sidewalk.
don't think you came out and said no, but you wouldn't commit to it.
No, I wouldn't commit because it's a bigger issue than just the one house. And I'll do whatever the board wants to do.
How many homes were damaged down along Point Drive?
Probably, the day we did the walk down, on the east side, it was about 25. And then on the west side of Point Drive, I think there's like 6.
Is it mostly lawn or is it cement?
Mostly lawns. No, there's only a few cement.
Right.
But.
The patio
The same
and-
thing with hedges, trees. There's actual decks built in the easement.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't know where your deck is. Does your deck go out that far that it's in the easement?
About 3 feet short.
Huh? Is it short? Yeah, there's numerous ones that are in the easement, but this board doesn't want to go say, take everything out of the easement. I don't think we want that. I mean, this is the first time we've really been there in, since 1957, I would think.
Right.
You know, hit and miss once in a while if we can get in. The big thing is we can't get between the houses to get to an individual yard.
We understand.
Yep, we understand that.
I'm not questioning you.
I mean, I'm saying that, in my opinion, we're gonna make it right with you.
I had correspondence with Larry through the whole detail that was going on. As board members, we would talk about it. And, I mean, he took the time, not only himself, but our DPW man, to walk each and every one of those properties. They took over 2 pages of notes on all the damage to every single property.
Yeah, that's the day I
And we
was
want
able
to take
talk
care of our
Larry.
customers. But like Larry said, the frost laws haven't been out. The dirt hasn't settled yet. I mean, there's a lot of obstacles that we can't price or give somebody a price until we realize what our cost is gonna be and what do we do in-house, what do we do out-of-house. And Larry has commented to me several times on the sidewalk, and I agree with Larry. I mean, even though some of the damage is in the easement, it's stupid to take care of one part and the other part and not do the
Not do
easement.
the-
We
what
will
we're
take
doing.
care of that, and I agreed with Larry, yes, we should. But, you know, all residents have to understand that the easement is a way for us to get to those utilities. And I know you weren't born in 1950, but, I wasn't born in 1950, but unfortunately, there's an easement in your deed that says that is township property. So we don't want to set precedences, and we don't want to just jump into things and give it, because there's another 30 residents that are out there that they would also like to be taken care of.
Sure, and I would just
So-
encourage from this point forward that when you hire a contractor and you know there's going to be things on that easement, that you hire somebody that will protect the person's property. You know, we don't know that we'd even be having this conversation had wood or planks been, I mean, we have to admit, they just abuse the property.
And Larry expressed that. He called
Yeah.
them, and he definitely expressed their.
Yeah. So I don't, you know, I've talked to other city managers and township supervisors. I mean, you can file insurance claims, you can hold back money. There's other things that you can do that won't cost the township, because if that person was your hired contractor, you wouldn't have paid.
You know, unfortunately, you
was
only have
terrible.
so many people that you can hire to do that
And
kind
it's,
of
it
work.
was hard, we were
So we
really-
only have like 2 or 3 people that we can do it. We
Yeah.
did, you know, tell them how
Then he
how
pulled off and
disrespectful
didn't
they
come
were.
back when we
Yeah,
needed him.
so, I
was
mean, and
rude.
our
They were
DPW is,
rude.
you know,
We brought in
foreman
another
and.
contractor.
Yeah, they were off, they were terrible.
Our DPW is a foreman and 2 employees, and during that whole time, I mean, they were working 12, 14 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, they did all they could and get out there, and we will get to the properties, and we will get to all the owners, and we will restore everything to the best of our ability that we can do. But like Larry said, it's gonna take some time until things settle, until we
Yep.
get back in there again.
We
and get
understand.
Are
everything
you
done.
fine with seeding that, or hydro seeding, or putting, what
Larry,
I'm trying
that's
to
the
get
thing.
prices on is,
Mark and I don't.
we're trying to get prices on either straw blanking or hydro seeding. I'm gonna have it bid both ways, you know, because it's gonna settle, like Angelo said, we're gonna have it going down.
One of the trustees made a comment, I think it was Mr. Bodea, that his neighbor lives for his grass. I said, I can assure you, Mark and I do not live for the grass. I mean, you can look at it, but it's
But like I
never
say,
been,
you ended up as, our contractor did a bad job at your house, but we had a big hole in your yard too, and it was all, well, as you know,
We
it was
could've
all
put a car
like
in it.
slop in there, and that's why they had to go to those pumps, but, yeah, and I've conveyed that to our DPW who hires these people, that we can't have contractors plugging into people's houses, we can't have them sitting on their porch, we can't have them, you know, abusing the property. I mean, I'm sorry it happened, but it happened, and I don't know how we can remedy it the best we can do. And that's what I think this board is willing to do. But,
Larry, I think you're gonna have to wait a few more months before that ground stiffens up.
no, I hope
so
it
you
ain't
can
that
get
long. But
something
we
in
are
there.
out there trying to get some of the stones raked up right now. And like I told my supervisor, I said, I don't want 4-foot weeds growing around all these dirt piles. I mean, we should get it confined up to the pile, and so you guys can cut your grass around that, you know. But there's some properties are just, you know, a little 2-inch track that's a rut, you know. So it's hard to figure how we're gonna get somebody, a contractor, to come in and do this. I've talked to a couple of contractors already about how to bid it. So we're working on that, but
Good.
timeline,
Talking
I
away.
don't have a timeline.
And I didn't expect you to have one.
Yeah.
Because that'd be crazy to set a date, you don't.
I mean, if I did, I would say, you know, October.
Say,
You
oh,
know,
we're looking for some commitment to know.
It might be that long, too.
Okay.
Don, these are the 6 issues that you talked about, correct? So the repair of the toilet is done?
Yep.
And Larry, you said the check reimbursement for the electricity's been sent
That's,
out?
you should have that check probably tomorrow or
So we're just
Wednesday.
talking about the other 4 items on this.
And the sprinkler, we're including that with our bid to the contractors, because most of the people that do that restoration have sprinkler companies associated with them, or
Okay.
or division or whatever. So we're hoping that we can get that figured in, because there's like 3 or 4 sprinkler systems that, if not, then Blaine will have to fix it, but I would rather do it all together in one bid.
I know, we understand that.
And we're trying to bid it because I think it's gonna be a rather large number, you know, because, like, say, 30-some residents that we're gonna have to restore. You see some of those on Point Drive on the west side, I mean, it's their whole front yard. We had to go down 18 feet there. I mean, where in yours, we only went down like 5, you know?
Oh, Larry, you could have put a school bus in that hole.
Oh, was it that deep?
oh, yeah.
I didn't go down there when the,
Absolutely enormous.
oh,
And that is something, Larry, that we are gonna have to contract out, because our DPW will not be able
No,
to take
they
care of
won't be
this.
able to do that.
So then, do you have to vote and agree that you're going to do our cement? Or is that just, are we going to come to have the same language that is gonna be handled?
I think it will be handled.
I think it's gonna just be handled.
I don't think there's anybody that doesn't agree. I mean, especially when we went out of the easement. I mean, when we scratched that cement to the riverside there, you know.
At some point, it'll get fixed.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so what they came here for is for the commitment, so that's what we can give you.
Okay.
If you don't wanna do it now, you wanna wait till the ground settles so you can do
Absolutely.
it.
It'd be crazy to do. We understand that, but,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a contractor, you know, and
Right.
I understand that, trust me.
Well, I'm sorry that this all happened and that you had to waste your time coming here, but you got something out of it anyways, you know.
You have our
Thank you, and thanks for taking our calls and coming to visit, Trustee
Thank you.
All
Blair.
right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Okay, where are we at here? Announcements. I don't have any announcements. Member comments, Mr. Horn,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Pasalis?
I don't think I have anything this evening.
Mr. Down?
No comments?
Mr. Blackstock?
Nothing, thank you.
Ms. Blair?
We miss Trustee or Treasurer Boda. Please convey our thoughts. Thank you.
I just got a couple things I wanted to mention here. In our conversation, I said, we're trying to get some kind of parameters to bid out the restoration, at least get that number to know what we're looking at. The other thing, if you read in your packet, those two lift stations, one on Springborn and Bell River, is operating at 30% of its ability. The one on Meisner is operating at 40% of its ability. So those are the next two that we're gonna do probably within the year. That'll be our next thing.
A year?
What's that?
A year?
I would think it'll probably be a year before we get to that, but we're gonna start a little earlier than we did on this one, because we wanted this Urban Drive one done for April, but we didn't make it,
Is it only operating at 30%?
of its capacity, because the pumps won't run any better. The pumps are that wore out. How do I say it?
They're that wore
I was
out.
confused with that report. That's what
Yeah, I guess I-
I didn't understand which way they were going with that.
Yeah.
It's only at 30% capacity.
That's what I understand.
Or
It's down
sure
30%.
enough that it's only at
Right.
30%.
Well,
That's gotta be clarified.
that's what tomorrow at 9 o'clock, we have a meeting with PCE. One of the things that Blaine has asked for, we've cambered all this Point Drive and different spots. We've got all the disc. Blaine wants to know, are we fixing it the right way? I mean, Blaine's not an engineer, I'm not an engineer, We have engineers, so Blaine asked them to give us a price on looking at this and give us how we should be fixing it. But we also got another price from another company. So tomorrow, we're gonna meet with PCE and talk to them and see what is all included in theirs. I wanna be more clear what they're telling us. So we're gonna be having that tomorrow, and I've invited Chuck to that.
What I question is not the fact that we need to repair them, it's that why wait a year?
No, this isn't on those, Greg, this is on Point Drive on the risers that are broke off. The rest of them, we've tried grouting them, we've tried, they've talked about putting sleeves on them, which is all internally. But what Blaine has been doing is taking and digging the hole, like in their front yard, dug all the way down there, cut the main, and put a new T in there
Riser?
with the riser on it. It's out of plastic, and then they fern coat it in, and then they put that stone around it with a little bit of concrete to hold it. Is that the right way to go? Blaine doesn't know, that's what we want to know. Or do we need a whole new line in there? I don't know. I don't know the answer. But this grouting is quite expensive to do too, so do we want to spend all that money on grouting? Unless somebody on the board has a better idea, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this.
Is that the pipes that stick it up in the yards down there?
The risers, yeah, the risers. That's what's breaking off the main, is the risers.
You don't have an opinion from the engineer?
He says, well, maybe the main is moved, maybe the river's pushed it. Maybe it wasn't bedded right when they put it in 59.
There's a lot of research still to be done.
Yeah, and this is what Blaine says, are we going down the right path? I mean, we're gonna spend these tens of thousands of dollars. We wanna make sure we're going in the right direction, I
That's why you
think.
need the engineers to let you
Absolutely.
know.
I mean, that's what we got the engineers for. So I thought it was a good idea to sit down and talk with them, and then we'll be bringing it to the next meeting. The other thing is I got a thing there's 2 parcels in the township, they're going up to tax sale. We have the first right of refusal on those properties. One is a vacant lot, one is a house. Of course, the vacant lot, there's no sewer or water, no water bill owed on it. On the one, there's a few $100. I don't even think it's $100 on the one household, so I don't think the township wants to take those pieces of property in foreclosure. The one is 6,000 and the other is almost 10. I know we said we were gonna take that other one on that 13,000. We put a lien on the house, but I don't think we want it. We took the,
One up on Riverside?
yeah, and then, remember, we took the duplex over there in Boulder Creek. That was the only one we've really taken, but I would advise that we don't take these two. I don't, they're in subdivisions or all by themselves. I
Well,
mean,
they're not near a park or anything like that, or?
no, you can't access, that was my question, if we could access to a park or something like that. All that would do is take them off the tax rolls. So I think, I'm gonna suggest that I just sign off on them, that we don't want them. The other thing is, probably on the next meeting, sometime this summer, I'd like to get some prices on some windows for the township hall. If you notice, when you come in here, the girls all got visqueen on their windows. They just leak so bad. Maybe we'll get an estimate on some of those.
Drafty during the winter.
Yeah, the wind just blows through them, so. Other than that, I guess that's all I got right now. I guess a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 8:16.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a support that we adjourn at 8:15. Is there any further discussion or questions?
Who supported that? Blackstock.
Before we adjourn, I just want to wish Don a speedy recovery too.
Yes.
And,
Feeling much better.
Sure.
yeah,
Making sure everything's cleared up before they let them go.
I gotta find out what's wrong with him.
so with nothing else, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.